Is this a terrible housing market? Is the housing market about to crash? If I sell my present home, will I be able to find another? Hey everyone, McKee Smith, Senior Real Estate Specialist and Realtor with Competitive Edge Realty. Every day I hear from people who are wanting to sell their present home, but are scared based on what they're hearing in the media. Well, there's enough of you out there who've worked in television and film to know that the media gets its best ratings from talking about crises, even if there's not an actual crisis. Friends, this is not 2008. Our current economic problems were originally caused by the pandemic, not a housing mortgage crisis. Yes, demand for homes has declined slightly as interest rates went up and home prices went up. But demand is still historically strong. For most of the DFW area, we have a 2-month supply or less of homes. That's a strong seller's market. To get to an even market, we have to get all the way up to a 6-month supply, and friends, we're nowhere near that. If you have a reason to want to sell your house, say a change in the number of people living in your house, a divorce, empty nesters wanting to downsize, or a young family wanting to grow the number of children they have, now is a great time to sell your current home and buy one that better fits your new family lifestyle. If you'd like to explore your options, just drop me a line with your address in it, and I can give you a competitive edge, competitive market analysis of what your home could bring on the open market. That way, you'll have an actual number that you can use to consider your choices. If you have any real estate related questions, please drop me a line. I'm thrilled to answer them. If you know of anybody who is considering selling, buying, or leasing a house, please pick up your phone while you're next to them, call my number and hand them the phone. I'll be happy to talk to them. Remember, McKee has the keys to selling your home. Bye for now.